Pokemon Red, but I've turned every move in the game poison type. I've also given moves that didn't already have a secondary effect a 10% chance to poison. If you want to know what those moves are, there's a link in the description below with more information. So with every move in the game being poison type, what kind of difficulties are we looking at? Brock, Giovanni, Koga, and Agatha all have teams that resist poison, some even double resist, but none of those battles are necessarily that hard outside of type matchups, so this run might be pretty straightforward. Who knows? Let's get into it. I start the run off picking up Charmander, naming it Poison, and yes, you guessed it, I won't be using Charmander in this run. I picked it up solely because we haven't seen Rival's Blastoise team in a while. That being said, heading to the west of Viridian City, I pick up my first team member, this Nidoran, and give it the nickname Sylvie, which, if you get the reference, you'll notice I misspelled the name, oh well. Now, I don't intend on using Sylvie for this entire run either, and that might seem counterproductive given I already had a perfectly good Pokemon in Charmander, but let me explain as I level Sylvie up in the background. The first gym leader in the game, Brock, has two Pokemon on his team, Geodude and Onix, we all know that. Both of these Pokemon double resist poison type moves being ground typed. So any move in this run that hits Geodude or Onix will do 1/4 the normal damage it would have done otherwise. With Geodude and Onix's already really high defense stat, it's entirely possible for the effective power of these poison type moves to be dropped down to 0. And we can see that in action with Vanilla Weedle against Geodude. Weedle is trying to Poison Sting here, but every time it's used, it misses. This is because if a move would do 0 damage to the opposing Pokemon, the game simply says it misses. But the point still stands in that Weedle can never damage this Geodude unless we level it up a lot. So that being said, I wanted my first Pokemon to have the best chance of at least being able to damage Brock's Pokemon, so I needed a heavy hitter with a decent attacking move. Nidoran has pretty good attack, and it has access to Horn Attack very early on, giving it the best chance out of any of the early game Pokemon to be able to do this. And yes, I could have used Bulbasaur, Leech Seed, Stall Strats, but I'd rather not unless that's the last possible option. Now, all that being said, we just used Nidoking in the every move is ground type run, so I didn't really want to use it for the whole run here, so we'll be benching it shortly after Brock. Speaking of Brock, I go ahead and try him at level 13, and it goes pretty bad, but we get a good idea of where we're at. And you can see Tackle missing here because it's just not able to output enough damage. Tackle and Horn Attack are two moves that now have that chance to poison, but Brock has 5 full heals for each of his Pokemon, so we can't really rely on tick damage to knock him out. And we were really running through Horn Attack power points on that first battle. So I level up to level 15, then rematch Brock, focusing on using Tackle to start with before Geodude can raise up its defense. But after Geodude uses all 6 defense curls, we're still able to damage it, which is great for us. We then get enough poisons that Brock runs out of his allotted full heals, and we knock Geodude out. But then Onix comes out, and that's that. I go to level up Sylvie one more time to level 16, and Sylvie evolves into Nidorino. With Sylvie evolved and having better stats, I rematch Brock, knocking out his Geodude by whittling it down just like last time, but this time Sylvie has a whole lot more health going into Onix. Leer? That was a crit, it did 3. Okay, I'm hoping for a bide. There's bide. 4, 5. Let's try Horn Attack. Ooh, look how much damage that's doing. Let's not get greedy here. He would definitely knock me out. Oh, not a crit. We go for it. Absolutely. Nice. All right, Brock is down. Beating the Onix a whole lot easier than I thought we would. We head on into Mount Moon where I pick up the real first team member of this team, Zubat, that I nickname Rogue. I put up Sylvie and start to take Rogue back to Viridian Forest when I accidentally run into this lass with the Jigglypuff, and yeah, this is pretty much how the next 14 minutes go. Needless to say, I benched Rogue where it will be forever forgotten in the PC. I grab Sylvie back out and we make very quick work of Mount Moon and arrive in Cerulean City where we unceremoniously beat Misty because, I mean, we have Stab Horn Attack on a Nidorino. She can't do anything anyways. Let's take on Cerulean Rival. Immediately leave Misty and go take on Rival. And this is probably going to be the same song and dance. Just everything goes down to Horn Attack. I about learned Focus Energy over Horn Attack. I'm glad I did not do that. All right, I also lost my ability to speak. I need to drink some hot cocoa. Need to calm down a little bit. B. Yes. Okay. Did I fix Abra? I'm curious. I'm just curious to see if I fixed. No, I did not. Okay. That's fine. I specifically remember fixing its typing, but I guess I didn't fix its moves for some reason. Okay, whatever. Abra's never gonna get fixed. Making our way through Nugget Bridge and Cerulean Cave, we make it to Bill's, where he is in such agreement that putting Zubat away was a good idea that he gives us a free ticket to the luxurious SSN. Making a beeline straight to the cruise ship, we make pretty quick work of Rival 1 or 2-shotting his whole team. I mean, we are like 10 levels higher than everything on his team. And I do a little trick. I purposely lose against this gentleman. I'm about to pick up my next team member in Rock Tunnel, and I want to be able to raise it up a little bit with some trainer battles. In losing against this trainer, the SSN doesn't leave the port, and I'm able to come back to it later and train up my next Pokemon. Making it into Rock Tunnel, I have to face my hardest opponent since Brock, the hiker with 2 Geodude and a Graveler. I don't really know what to expect with this guy. Alright, so that did some damage. I am worried we're not going to be able to knock him out before he knocks me out. If we can get past this Geodude without him using self-destruct— oh my goodness, you gotta be kidding me, dude. Ah, dude. Very last turn. We lived on 1? Nice. I love living on 1. Immediately after that fight, I go so fast this junior trainer somehow doesn't see me, and I'm still not sure how this worked, so I'm gonna have to put it to the test in future runs. Picking up some Great Balls from Celadon along with a Pokédoll and a water, I come back to Rock Tunnel to catch my next team member, this Onix. Okay, maybe not that one, but maybe this one. Yes, we get Onix, and I name it Oriad. That'll be a Tsokio trivia quiz later, so be sure to remember it. Bruno inspired me with his Onix in the last Rock-type run and how well they tanked all of my attacks. And in this run, Oriad should be even better with his double resistance against Poison-type moves. The only problem we run into is if it gets poisoned, and that might actually happen quite a bit, but maybe not, who knows. I head back onto the SSN, train Oriad up quite a bit to level 22, and let's fight Lieutenant Surge since we're already here, and I swear I didn't forget about him. He sends out Voltorb, of course, that hits a Screech and a Sonic Boom, but other than that, not much. Then Pikachu comes out and paralyzes Oriad, which really might be a good thing. I was worried about getting poisoned, but now I can't be, and none of their attacks are doing much of anything to me anyways. We knock Pikachu out, and then out comes Raichu, and after a few back and forths with Thundershock, Full Paralysis, Screech, and Growl, we knock out Raichu and defeat Lieutenant Surge with an Onix. Who would have thought? From Vermilion, we head to Celadon and actually do the Rocket Game Corner questline. There's only one reason why I would be doing this quest, well, I guess 2 depending on what you're counting, but either way you can at least take a guess on what the final team member of the party is going to be. Making it down to Game Corner Giovanni, I showcase a little on how Oriad is going to play the rest of the game. Yes, we are going to be so very toxic about it. Bind Poison is just broken. I also forget Giovanni uses Guard Spec again, but we knock him out, so that's that. Coming back to Lavender Town, I totally didn't forget we haven't fought Lavender Rival yet, so let's fight him, and this fight is incredibly easy. Oriad just screeches and tackles, and nothing can do anything to him, and I talk about nicknames and tabletop RPGs, and we win. Winning that fight, we move up a floor in the tower where I catch my next team member, this Ghastly, that I name Mist. Taking the team to the west of Lavender, I raise up Mist a little bit where it evolves into a Haunter. Fun fact, growing up, Nidorino, Onix, and Haunter were my 3 favorite Pokemon, so it's pretty cool to be using them all on the same team again in a somewhat viable way. After fighting through Pokemon Tower, getting a few level ups, and catching Jekyll the Doduo, let's take on Erica. Erica is, no surprise, a pretty easy fight. 2 of her Pokemon are part poison, but with them also being grass types, they don't actually resist our moves. Victory Bell goes down in 3 turns with some lucky confusion damage and Nightshades. We confuse Tangela, but I didn't really need to since I swap into Oriad and Tangela has such weak moves, it literally can't even damage our defensive tank. After a few screeches and tackles, it goes down. And then Vileplume comes out and it can actually damage Oriad, but it's pathetic damage and Oriad eventually knocks it out. After Erica, we do a bunch of training up in Sylph and head off to fight Rival. And while I'm doing this, I can talk about how incredibly easy this run is so far. Like, I expected this run to go super slow with so many Pokemon resisting Poison-type moves, but I'm learning that the majority of things that do resist Poison-type moves that we encounter are incredibly easy to deal with when you have Nightshade or a Nidorino with Stab Horn Attack on their team. Thinking of things like Golbat, Arbok, Weezing, Muk, none of these are exceptional Pokemon in Gen 1, so they're relatively easy to take out even with the buffs we see in this run. And then the tanks like Rhyhorn, Onix, Graveler, those are somewhat of a threat, but in the hands of Gen 1 AI, they're so much worse than what they could be. So that's one half of the equation. The other half is we just have a really good team for this run. Each member will eventually be double resisting most moves in the game, and they each have their own little quirk about them, like Sylvie's super good attack stat and access to stab options, and Mist's Nightshade being able to overcome anything that could resist our moves. Oriad's is its massively high defense stat and double resist to most moves, as we can see our poor rival struggling here in the background to take away more than 1 HP per turn, and eventually losing the fight. Poor rival. Let's take on Giovanni. I think we will need to set up some Leer here. All right, he went for 2 focused energies. Helps us out a lot. Unfortunately, we got a crit. Oh well. His Nidorino's down. Easy enough. Kangaskhan, let's just go for Horn Attack, see how much damage it does. All right, that was a crit. And another one doesn't knock it out. Ooh, I meant to go for Tackle, but that's fine. All right. Now, Rhyhorn, we will absolutely have to use some Leer here. And it is doing some major damage. I always forget Rhyhorn can do damage like that. We gotta swap out, unfortunately. Really, it wasn't doing a lot of damage, it was just damage over time. And let's use Nightshade on it. And those Leer are coming into effect with that confusion. Dang. It knocked itself out. Confuse Nidoqueen and knock it out with a few Nightshade. And Giovanni is not down yet. Is not down yet. There we go. What did I just do? I just learned Dream Eater over Nightshade, didn't I? Yep, I did that. And it's been a very long time since I last saved. This is why you should always save before major battles. So Nightshade, if you're not familiar with it, is a direct damage move, bypassing resistances and always doing your level in HP damage to your opponent. So at level 38, it will do 38 HP of damage. It's a very good move, and I just taught over it with Dream Eater, a move that only works if the opponent is asleep. Needless to say, I was very upset with myself. We haven't really needed Nightshade up to this point, but we will, without a doubt, need a direct damage move for Agatha. And maybe even Bruno. He surprised me in the last run, so who knows. Without having to go back and catch another Ghastly, there is another direct damage move we can get. And those of you who know are probably yelling at the screen for me to not do it. But I'm going to because I'm stubborn and I don't want to raise up another Ghastly. We're going the Psywave route. So let's go fight Sabrina real quick. She's an easy fight. As you can see, I taught Miss Thunderbolt, further solidifying that I'm not raising up another Ghastly. It one-shots the Kadabra, 2-shots Mr. Mime and Venomoth with that crit mattering, and then 2-shotting the Alakazam after it landed a Psywave that did the most damage I've ever seen. So we get the Psywave TM from that fight, but I don't teach it to Miss yet as an option if we need it later on, but I mean, we probably will against Agatha, but it's going to be a last resort. Let's go fight Koga. All right, we're going to fight Koga with Oriad. We're going to try with Oriad, and if this fight goes terrible, then we'll teach Psywave to Miss, but I think we should be fine. We fought plenty of coughing and wheezing against Team Rocket, so really, this shouldn't be any different. Now, we did see some smoke screens, so that's not ideal. As long as Muk doesn't use Minimize, we should be okay. Stop getting crits! No, please stop getting crits. Like, come on. All right, so we got regular poison. That's better than toxic poison. That's okay, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and swap out and let's use Confuse Ray just to get some tick damage. All right, yeah, just keep it from fighting. You don't get to play the game. All right, Weezing, please just use self-destruct. That's all we want. That's all we want to see is self-destruct. Or we can just keep you from playing the game too. That'd be great. All right, you get 1 sludge off. Holy cow, that did a lot. That did a lot of damage. You tried to toxic, but you can't. Honestly, I kind of feel bad for Koga. This is the poison move only run. He should be in his element here. But with the way his team is designed, he was just as easy as one of the Rocket fights. Poor Koga. I obviously teach Toxic to Oriad, granting it the incredibly broken Toxic Bind combo. Moving on to Blaine, not a whole lot to talk about here. His Pokemon attempt to chop away at Mist's health, but nothing really hits super hard until we get to Arcanine that hits a Fire Blast, doing some pretty big damage to Mist. Fortunately for us, Blaine seemingly forgets he can use Fire Blast, and we end up winning. So moving on to Giovanni, this will be the hardest fight we've seen in a while. All of his Pokemon double resist except for Dugtrio that just regular resists, and his Pokemon have pretty decent attack. Now whether he will be able to outdamage me, I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Let's just try Harden on Oriad to get badge boosts. And I really want to see if we can get Oriad's defense high enough where things don't affect it anymore. Okay, Fury Attack doesn't affect it. All right, there's Guard Spec. How much does Slam do now with all this badge boost? Nothing. Does actually nothing. All right, we'll just go into Toxic Bind. I think we did need to get some attack up just for Bind to be able to hit. So that is one thing that we needed to do anyways. All right, Dugtrio, we outspeed. And does Bind still hit with that growl? Yep, cool. So Dugtrio is going to go down eventually. Hurry up and wait. All right, Nidoqueen. Can we damage it? We cannot damage it. Oh wait, we can. That was just a regular miss. Okay, cool. Now we can't Toxic it. So what do we do here? Let's do Sylvie. Let's see if Sylvie outspeeds. Yes. All right, so we could totally go for Horn Drill. And hit. And we can hit. We hit. Nice. All right, and Oriad leveled up. Do we try it? Yeah. Oh, we got the other hit. Nice. All right, now all we got is Rhydon, so let's swap back into Oriad. And let's just do Toxic Bind and win the game. Poor Giovanni. He just stood no chance. Oh wait, Bind wasn't even hitting. Bind wasn't even hitting. Oh well. You gotta love those Horn Drill hacks. That would have been a much longer fight had that not worked. Moving on to Viridian Rival, I don't really think there's anything to worry about him, so let's just fight him real quick. Thunderbolt on Pidgeot didn't do as much as I thought it would, but lucky Confusion strats lets us knock it out without taking any more damage. Rhyhorn comes out, and of course, I'm going to swap into Oriad and Toxic Bind, making it a piece of cake. And for the rest of the battle, I just clean up with Sylvie. Growlithe goes down in 2, Execute goes down in 2, Alakazam goes down in 2, and Horn Drill just works on Blastoise. Nice. Making our way out of Victory Road, the team is all at level 47. I go ahead and teach Psywave to Mist over Dream Eater, and let's take on the Elite Four. So Lorelei should be pretty easy. I use the incredibly broken Toxic Bind strat on Dugong and Cloyster, but just before knocking out the Cloyster, it manages to get off a supersonic, confusing Oriad. Oriad then hits itself in confusion, and Slowbro gets a Water Gun off, poisoning Oriad. We hit ourselves again the next turn, but then we finally hit with Toxic. Since Oriad's poisoned, I swap out into Sylvie and then Mist. It doesn't really matter who I swap into because Slowbro is going down to Toxic eventually anyways. Jinx is next, and since it has such low defense, I stay in with Mist and knock it out in 2 thanks to a crit. And finally we have Lapras. I confuse it and put it to sleep, and then I just want to see one good Psywave hit, just to give me a little bit of hope for Agatha. Unfortunately, we don't see a good Psywave hit while Lapras is asleep, but it does go down to a couple of Thunderbolt, getting us the win against the first Elite Four member. Bruno is next, and we of course lead off with Oriad to get the Toxic Bind going on his first Onix, knocking it out with no issues. Hitmonchan is out next, and I send out Sylvie. I probably should have just stuck with Oriad and used the safe strats, but I wanted to spread the XP out a little bit. Hitmonchan is showing off its great physical attack before going out in 2, and then Hitmonlee comes out. Sylvie is at about 2/3 health, so we're not looking bad. But then Hitmonlee crits with Jump Kick, doing major damage to Sylvie. Sylvie hits back with a Horn Attack, but then Hitmonlee finishes Sylvie off next turn. I gotta admit, I sleep on the Hitmons in these runs when all the moves are a physical type. They're actually pretty good. Mist is able to come out and finish off the Hitmonlee, and then Bruno sends out a second Onix that I get a good Psywave off on. Then confuse it, put it to sleep, set up a bunch of Harden, and then finally Toxic it. Which, why didn't I do that earlier? It goes down eventually, and last is Machamp, which Oriad poisons and knocks out in just a few turns. Overall, Lorelei and Bruno weren't too bad. We weren't really expecting much. Lorelei was actually really easy. Bruno is just a matter of being patient against the Onyx and being respectful of the Hitmon's attack stat. Alright, here we go. The Agatha fight. I'm worried about this one. We can't toxic her Pokemon because they're all poison type. They all resist our regular moves. 3 of them have Nightshade, so we can't just stall with weak hits. This is going to be a tough fight. I go ahead and level everything up with rare candies, evolving Mist into Gengar and using the Moonstone on Sylvie since we now have Double Kick, which, looking back in editing, Horn Attack is slightly better than Double Kick, so I'm not sure why I did that. Anyways, I teach Fire Blast to Sylvie for major stab damage, and let's do this. And let's just see what happens. I am very scared of this fight, but if we get past this fight, the rest of the Elite Four champion should be very, very easy. Are you kidding me? That's exactly what I wanted to do to you. What is this? Alright, that's fine. Should we go for Fire Blast here? Do we think Fire Blast is going to do enough? Ooh, not very much at all. Alright, let's do some double kicks. Alright, Wing Attack did almost nothing. So that's good. And now we can... Oh, can't knock it out yet. Stop using super potions, dang it. Alright, we're gonna have to swap back into Mist. Golbat doesn't have Nightshade, so I think we're just going to... There we go, perfect. Alright, put you... Confuse. Nice. And put you to sleep. Put you to sleep. This fight sucks. Alright, let's swap back into Mist. Let's Confuse Ray you. Let's Confuse Ray you. This is what I was talking about. Agatha is just terrible. It's just a terrible fight. Thunderbolt, knock you out. Okay, bye. Alright, Gengar is back out. Confuse Ray. Are you serious? We got a Gen 1 miss on Confuse Ray. Now we're both hitting ourselves in confusion. Haven't yet hit a single Hypnosis. This fight sucks. This fight is terrible. There's Nightshade. Let's try Gengar. Or not Gengar. Double Kick. Didn't do anything. Fire Blast. I didn't mean to use Leer, but maybe that's enough to knock it out. Nope. Okay. Knocked myself out. Swapping an Oriad. Let's just use some Harden. This fight's gonna be stupid. Yep, that's what I didn't want to see. How much does Slam do? Not a whole lot. And we're asleep. And we're confused. And Dream Eater. Okay, let's swap into Mist. Please wake up. Yeah, Agatha's gonna be rough. I go right back in and rematch her and get really close to winning, but Oriad's the last Pokemon I have left and he's just not able to get enough damage off on her final Gengar. And the problem is we actually got decent luck in that battle. Like, we didn't get incredible luck, but it wasn't bad. Is this possible without Nightshade? Yes, eventually it is, that's just how probability works, but I don't want to wait for that lucky run, so I make the tough decision of benching Mist, catching another Haunter, and naming it Mist 2. Mist 2, of course, doesn't have Thunderbolt, but really, we have Sylvie for damage. Mist 2's primary job is to counter-troll Agatha. And, you know, I wish I could say we win the next rematch, but we don't. I get the absolute worst possible luck I've ever seen in one of my runs. Mist 2 gets put to sleep and confused for the first few turns, and nothing else major happens until it wakes up. It then hits itself in confusion 4 times in a row, getting down to Nightshade knockout range without doing any damage in return. It finally snaps out and gets off 2 Nightshades on Golbat before getting confused again, hitting itself again. Then Golbat uses Haze and we finally knock it out. Gengar comes back out, we hit 1 Nightshade, Gengar confuses Mist 2 who hits itself in confusion, and Gengar knocks us out. But we're not done. I send out Sylvie who, turn 1, gets confused, and you guessed it, 3 turns in a row, Sylvie hit itself in confusion and gets knocked out with Nightshade. And then poor Oriad, it can't do anything and we lose. I cannot describe how incredibly frustrated I was during that fight. I have never had that kind of confusion luck. Losing the coin flip on 8 consecutive confusing chances. The very next rematch, we get so incredibly close to winning, but I go for Hypnosis instead of Nightshade and it costs us the fight. Would Nightshade have knocked Gengar out from that much health? I don't really know. It doesn't look like it, but it probably would have been a better solution than relying on Hypnosis. Why did I do that? But you know, through all these losses, we've gotten all the bad luck and misplays out of the way. Let's fight Agatha for real. Let's just try again, I guess. I mean, no fanfare or anything. Let's just try to put Gengar to sleep. Okay, doesn't work, obviously. Turn 1, miss. Please stay asleep. I just want to heal up some. Alright, that should be fine. Let's use Nightshade. Try to knock these fools out. Alright, Gengar's down. Golbat should be in 2. Nice. Alright. Yeah, level up of that. Alright, Hypnosis. Please, please, please go to sleep. You've got to be kidding me. Please, go to sleep. Thank you. Alright, I just need to Dream Eater a little bit. That's fine. Nightshade, does it knock it out? Very, very close. Alright, Arbok, I'm actually going to swap into Oriad. Actually, would probably make more sense to swap into Sylvie. Yeah. And we will Leer. Just do a bunch of Leers. Get its defense way down. I don't want to see a Glare, so I'm going to go ahead and try to knock it out here. Nice. Alright. And Gengar, let's use a Leer. I'm going to use a bunch of Leer just to get its defenses down as far as possible. We have gotten the worst luck with confusion. I say that, and then Sylvie pulls through with 2 Leers. I'm going to swap into Oriad here. Let's try to set up some Harden. I just want to see how much Bind does. Okay, we're just going to have to go into it. I mean, it's chipping down a little bit. It is chipping down a little bit. So Nightshade will probably be a 2-hit. Alright. Nightshade. Please, please, Nightshade. It's not going to knock it out. Yes! Finally, some good luck. And we are through Agatha. Let's finish this. We are 5.5 hours into this run. I haven't edited the time. That's real time, 5.5 hours. Let's fight Lance. Toxic into Bind, Hydro Pump. That was a crit, did nothing. Gyarados, you've been scary in the past in some of these runs. This run, you're not scary at all. You're just gonna go down to the ye old stall strats. All right, Dragonair. Tell you what, Oriad needs to level up. Let's just stay in with Oriad here. Why not? If it hits another Dragon Rage, it'll be scary, but it didn't. We got to level up. Let's go ahead and Toxic, and then we're going to swap into Sylvie. Oh, we got poisoned. Yeah, let's swap into Sylvie here. Hyper Beam does nothing. Get out of here with that Hyper Beam. We'll go ahead and use a Leer just because we can, because it has to recharge. All right. Aerodactyl. Definitely going to use some Leers here because it resists poison. And Hyper Beam, we don't really have to worry about anyways. Double Kick. Gonna be a 2-hit or 4-hit, however you want to say it. All right. Dragonite does not resist. That crit Hyper Beam hurt. And let's see how much Fire Blast does. Oh no. Fire Blast almost knocked it out. And we got the burn. All right, let's just use some double kicks. And double kick. Nice. All right, Lance is down. Lance was so easy. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do the Oriad sweep. We're gonna harden all the way up. We're gonna see if we can get to a point where we're just not damaged by anything. I don't think it's gonna happen. But of course we would get poisoned. How many hardens do we have left? We have one more harden. Alright, and let's go for Slam. That did nothing. And it's poisoned now. Okay, well that's not gonna work. Swap into Sylvie. Oh boy, we tried. We tried. Poor Oriad. And now Pidgeot's hardened. Let's try for a Fire Blast. Can we get a crit? Just one more poison. One more poison tick and it's done. Okay, cool. Pidgeot's down. I'm gonna lose to myself. Trying to do stupid stuff. I need to focus. I just need to get through this fight. Alright, we do need to Toxic this Rhydon. I don't think we're gonna be able to beat it any other way. Let's Toxic. Now, Rhydon would be the one to actually keep Oriad out on, but we're gonna swap into Mist here and just use Nightshades to do some major damage, and then Toxic will finish it off. Alright, Rhydon's down. Arcanine. Let's use Hypnosis Dream Eater just to heal up a little bit. Oh no! You woke up. Oh well. Go back to sleep. And now we got Oh, I forgot about Executor. Let's send out Sylvie. And let's do a Fire Blast. And that should knock it out. Should Oko it. Yep. Easy Oko. And Blastoise. Let's Oko it. No. I wanted to call it. Oh, Horn Drill. Let's go for Horn Drill. No. Yes! Horn Drill. One hit knockout. Nice. Champion's done. Poison type only moves. Run. Done. We're done. We did it. We did it. Finally. Pokemon Red, but every move is poison, is done. I have no words or thoughts. I'm just glad to be past Agatha. Thank you so much for watching. Up next in the series is how easy is Pokemon Red if every Pokemon is dual rock ground type. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Then after that, who knows? That being said, thank you again so much for watching. I will see you guys next time.